Madam.
Sharada, ready?
రెడీ మేడం. ఫస్ట్ ఇంట్రొడక్షన్ నేను ఇది వీడియో ఇది అయిపోయిన తర్వాత స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేస్తాను మేడం మొన్నట్లాగా.
అయితే పక్కనే ఉంది కదా, టైం తీసుకోకుండా అవుతుంది కదా స్క్రీన్ షేర్.
పక్కనే ఉంది మేడం. నేను అంటే జస్ట్ అంటే కొంచెం డిస్టెన్స్ లో ఉంటే క్లారిటీ ఉంటుంది వీడియో అని చెప్పేసి.
మేడం.
ఓకే
ఓకే మేడం.
Sharada, ready?
Shall I start madam?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. Good morning all. This is Sharada, PGT in Bioscience, Tsrs&Jc, Girls, Kodakandla. Welcome you all to my online class. The second chapter of first year zoology, that is the structural organization in animals. Already we have discussed the level of organization in animals and silo and symmetry topics. Today we are going to discuss about types of animal tissues. Okay, let's start our class.
Okay, our topic is types of animal tissues. So here we are observing some tissues on the screen. First of all, tissue. Actually, what is the meaning of it? In metazoans, a group of cells and products that arise from the same region of the embryo, which perform the same function, constitute the tissue. Means a group of cells which originate from the same place and having the same function are known as the tissue. The study of tissue is known as the histology or microanatomy. So here in this picture, we are observing the different types of tissues like smooth muscle tissue and loose connective tissue, nervous tissue, blade, and columnar epithelium. So all these are the different types of tissues. So let us go for the detail. In animals, mainly there are 4 types of tissue are there. The first one is the epithelial tissue, second one is the connective tissue, third one is the muscular tissue, and fourth one is the nervous tissue. First, epithelial. Epi means upon. The tissue which covers outer body surface and lining the internal organs is known as the epithelial tissue. Once again, I repeat, epithelial tissue means the tissue which covers the outer body surface and lining the internal organs. So regarding epithelial tissue, here we are observing the intercellular junctions of epithelial tissue. Means they are present at the place of epithelial regions only, but we are giving different names according to their structure and function. Okay. The first one is the tight junction, and second one is the desmosomes, and third one is the gap junctions. Okay. Intercellular. Inter means between two cells place is known as the inter. Within the cell is known as the intra. There is a lot of difference between the intra and inter. Intra means within the cell. Inter means between the two cells. So the epithelial tissue which is present and having different functions, according to that we are grouping them as the tight junctions and desmosomes and gap junctions. First, let me explain you tight junctions. So here in this picture, you are able to see the tight junction. Okay. Here cell A and cell B. This is the cell B and this is the cell A. So here you are able to see the tight junction, which is a bounding, which is having a thick connection. Okay. The tight junction. Okay. Here they prevent the leakage of water in surroundings, into the surroundings. Okay. So here when we go for the definition, the tight junctions which are present at the epithelial regions, they prevent the leakage of water into the surroundings. Examples, sweat glands. Usually the epithelial tissue tight junction which are present at the place of sweat glands, they prevent the leakage of water into the surrounding. So with the help of tight junction, the water which is present within the cells may not come out. So with the help of the tight junction, it will be controlled. So this is about the tight junction. Now go for the next type of junction. Now, coming to know about the desmosomes. Desmosomes are the specialized protein complexes responsible for maintaining the mechanical integrity of tissues. So here in this picture, we are able to see the protein filaments which are made up of with the keratin. What is the name of the protein? It is the keratin protein, and which is useful for binding with adjacent cells. The filaments which are arise from a particular cell portion which are made up of with keratin will be useful for binding with the adjacent cells. They are known as the desmosomes. Especially desmosomes are present in the muscles. Okay, this is about the desmosomes. Once again, desmosomes are the specialized protein complexes. They are responsible for maintaining the mechanical integrity of tissues. Keratin is a protein and intermediate filament which is useful for binding with the adjacent cell. So here the filaments which are arising from that particular cell region are made up of with the keratin, and they will be useful for binding with the adjacent cells. So this is about the desmosomes. Gap junction. The third type is the gap junction. Here they provide cytoplasmic channels. So in this picture, you are able to see clearly cytoplasmic channels. Here, this is the cytoplasmic channel. Means the pathway from one cell to the another cell is known as a channel. That is the cytoplasmic channel. And these are compared with the plasma desmata of plant cells. So usually in case of plants, the plasma desmatas are the parts which are able to supply the particles from one cell part to the another cell. Just like here also, the gap junctions which are cytoplasmic channels between the two adjacent cells are useful for the various types of transfer of various types of ions, just like sugar molecules and amino acids, and pass from a cell to an adjacent cell. So this is about the gap junction. So these are the locations of the gap junctions which are present at the adjacent cell places. With these channels, there is a chance of exchange of materials like the ions, sugar molecules, amino acids will be passed from one cell to the another cell. This is about the gap junctions. Okay. Now go for the next topic. Now, the types of epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues are again divided into two types. One is the simple epithelium and second one is the compound epithelium. Now, here in this flow chart, we are able to see the simple epithelium is again divided into squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and columnar epithelium. Okay. And another type is the compound. So first go for the simple only. Okay. Epithelial tissue is divided into two types. Number one is the simple epithelium and number two is the compound epithelium. So when we go for the simple epithelium, it is again divided into three types: squamous, simple squamous epithelium, and cuboidal and columnar. So first we go for the only simple epithelium only. Okay. Simple epithelium. The term itself indicating that it is very simple, very transparent. Okay. If it is having only one layer, that is the simple epithelium. Simple epithelium composed of a single layer of cells and form the lining of body cavities, ducts, and vessels. And it helps in the diffusion, absorption, filtration, and secretion of substances. Okay. So due to its structure, which is having only one layer, that is the reason it is useful for in the diffusion process and absorption process and filtration and secretion of substances. So here in this picture, you are able to see simple squamous epithelium. Means simple means it is also having only one layer. Simple squamous. Why we are mentioning the squamous means it is having the flat structure. Okay. Let us go for the points. Simple squamous epithelium, it is composed of a single layer of flat structure. So it is just look like a flat-like structure. And each cell with centrally located ovoid nucleus, the round nucleus which is centrally present. It is found in the endothelium of blood vessels. What do you mean by endothelium? The inner side. Ecto means outer side. The blood vessels which are having the inner side of the blood vessels are having the simple squamous epithelium. And mesothelium of body cavities, just like pleura and peritoneum. And wall of Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, it is a part of nephron. And lining of alveoli of lungs. The alveoli, which are very, very important for the exchange of gases. So there also we are observing the simple squamous epithelium. It is very transparent and a single layer and very flat in structure. So that is the reason it is especially present in the endothelium of the blood vessels and Bowman's capsule of nephron and lining of alveoli of lungs. So here you are able to see the nucleus is round in structure, okay, and having the flat structure. All these are the points of a simple squamous epithelium. Now go for the next one. Here also simple but cuboidal. Simple means having only one layer. Cuboidal means it is having the shape of cube shape. That is the epithelium. Now, in this regard, it is composed of a single layer of cube cells and with centrally located spherical nucleus. How the nucleus is appearing like here, when we are observing or when we are focusing only on the nucleus, it is with spherical, and it is found in the germinal epithelium and PCT and DCT of nephron. Actually, a nephron is consisting with the Bowman's capsule and PCT, loop of Henry, and DCT and collecting tubules. Especially in PCT and DCT of nephron, it is having the simple cuboidal epithelium, means the cells are having the cube shape cells, and which are useful for the absorption or exchange of materials. Okay, so this is about the simple cuboidal epithelium. This is the cube shape, and this is the nucleus with a spherical shape and having only one layer. Simple cuboidal epithelium. Okay, now go for the next one. Simple columnar epithelium. The term itself, columnar, means it is having just like slender shape. It is composed of a single layer. Simple means always you should remember that it is only having one layer. And columnar means just like the slender shape, and with the oval nuclei located near the base. Nucleus is present, but at the base place you are able to see it. So here you are able to see the nucleus which is exactly at the place of a base region. Okay, this is about the simple columnar epithelium. Again, it is divided into two types: ciliated columnar and non-ciliated columnar. Okay, ciliated columnar and non-ciliated columnar. So this is about the columnar, which is having slender shape, and the nucleus is at the place of base region. And again, it is divided into two types, that is the ciliated columnar and non-ciliated columnar. Now go for the next one. Here, ciliated columnar epithelium means a columnar epithelium, but it is having cilia on the surface. That is the definition for it. Okay, now go for the detail. Here, these are the cilia-like structures which are present on the surface of the cells. The cells are slender shape, and they are also having the nucleus at the base, but they are having the cilia-like structures on the surface. So where we are observing such type of ciliated columnar epithelium means it is present inner surface of organs like fallopian tubes, ventricles of brain, central canal of spinal cord, and branchioles. So all these are the regions we observe the ciliated columnar epithelium. What are the regions? Surface of the organs like fallopian tubes, ventricles of brain, central canal of spinal cord, and branchioles. So this is about the ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, now here, non-ciliated columnar epithelium. Here also you are able to see the cell with columnar shape, but cilia are not present. Instead of cilia, you are able to see here microvilli. Columnar cells are without cilia. It is found in the lining of stomach and intestine. The microvilli are present in the columnar epithelium of intestine to increase the surface area of absorption. What is the main function of the microvilli? It increases the surface area of absorption in stomach and intestine. This is about the non-ciliated columnar epithelium, which is not having the cilia, but instead of cilia, it is having microvilli, which are useful for the increase the surface area of absorption. Okay, so this is the cell, and these are the microvilli. Okay, now go for the next one. Here, already we discussed just now only. Here the epithelium is divided into two types. One is the simple, means which is having only single layer, And another type is the compound, means which is having more than one layer. Okay, here we go through this picture. So it is made up of more than one layer of cells. That is known as the compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. Here it is again divided into two types: stratified keratinized squamous epithelium and stratified non-keratinized squamous epithelium. Means both are squamous epithelium of stratified only. But if the keratin is present, that is the stratified keratinized. If the keratin is absent, that is the non-keratinized. So here in this picture, you are able to see the layers, more than one layer. The cells are arranged in more than one layer. That is the reason it is called as the compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. Okay. So this is about the compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. The cells which are arranged in more than one layer. Okay. Now go for the next slide. Stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. So just now only I explained. Here it is the stratified means having more than one layer, but it is covered with the keratin. Example is the surface of the skin, which is having the keratin. Okay. And non-stratified, non-keratinized. Okay. Here non-keratinized means it is not having the keratin layer, but stratified means having more than one layer. Usually it is observed in a moist surfaces like buccal cavity or pharynx and esophagus regions. The moist surfaces like where we are able to see such type of means buccal cavity and pharynx and esophagus. Okay, this is about stratified keratinized squamous epithelium and stratified non-keratinized squamous epithelium. So this is the picture. This one is the keratin layer. In this picture, it is not having the keratin layer. So this is the difference between the stratified keratinized and non-stratified keratinized. Okay. Comparison. Stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized and keratinized. Just simply we can say if a keratin is present, that is a keratinized. If a keratin is absent, that is the non-keratinized. Okay, so this is the comparison picture of a stratified squamous epithelium of a non-keratinized and keratinized. Highly keratinized. Here you are able to see the highly keratinized. Here you are not able to see the keratin layer. Okay, so this is the difference of the two types of squamous epitheliums. Now the next one is the glandular epithelium. The term itself indicating gland means secretion. A gland means a portion which is able to secrete something is known as a glandular epithelium. Here in this picture, so you are able to see a duct-like portion. Some of the columnar or cuboidal cells that get specialized for the production of certain secretions from glandular epithelium. So again there are two types, unicellular and multicellular. If it is having only one cell, that is a unicellular. If it is having more cell like clusters, that is a multicellular glands. Okay, nothing here. Glandular means some of the columnar or cuboidal cells that get specialized for production of certain secretions from the glandular epithelium are known as a glandular epithelium. If it is made up of with a single cell, unicellular. If it is made up of with multi-cells, multicellular glands. Here, unicellular and multicellular. So unicellular means only single cell is consisting of isolated glandular cells such as goblet cells of the gut. Okay. Multicellular glands consisting of clusters of cells such as salivary glands. So in this picture also, you are able to see the difference of a uni and multi. Unicellular and multicellular glands. This is the difference between the unicellular gland and multicellular gland. Now, on the basis of mode of releasing of the secretions, glands are divided into two types, namely exocrine, endocrine. Number of times we heard these two words, exocrine, endocrine. Let me explain first about the exocrine glands. Exocrine glands are provided with the ducts, secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzymes. All these are the secretions which are secreted by the exocrine glands. Okay. Now come to know about the endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are ductless. Especially we should mention the ductless, and their products are hormones which are not sent out via ducts, but they are carried to the target organs by blood. How they will be reached to the target organs means with the help of the blood. So this is about the exocrine and endocrine. The exocrine products are mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzymes. And endocrine gland secretions are called as the hormones, which are not sent out via ducts, but they are carried to the target organs by blood. Okay, this is the difference between the exocrine and endocrine glands. Endocrinology, the study of hormones. Okay. Now, based on the mode of secretion of exocrine glands are three types: merocrine, apocrine, and holocrine. So based on the secretion, how they are secreting outside. So based on that, we are grouping them into three types. What are they? Merocrine, apocrine, and holocrine. So let me explain one by one. Okay. Here, the first one is the merocrine. Pancreas is the example. So here, which release the secretory granules without loss of other cellular material. Only the secretion only comes out from that cell. Such type of secretion method is known as a merocrine. Pancreas is the example, which release the secretory granules without loss of other cellular material. So in this picture also you are able to see that. Apocrine, the term itself, apho means apical, means top. Example, mammary glands, in which the apical part of the cell is pinched off along with the secretory product. So in this picture, you are clearly able to see that the apical part only pinched out along with the secretory product. Example, mammary glands. But the third, holo, means complete. Here, example, sebaceous glands, in which the entire cell disintegrates to discharge the material or secretory product. The entire cell is disintegrate here. So that is the holocrine method. Merocrine means without loss of cellular material. Apo means apical part will be somewhat deviated from that particular cell portion. Holo means the complete cell. Okay. So these are the three types of methods according to their secretion secretory method. We are giving different names, and that is these are the pictures to identify them in a clear manner. First one is the mero, and this is the apo, and this is the hole. So these are the three types of methods. Now, So that is about all about the epithelial tissue. Okay. Now let us come to know about the connective tissue. So regarding animal tissue, epithelial tissue, connective tissue, and nervous tissue. Okay. So let me explain about the connective tissue now. Connective tissue, the term itself indicating connection, means the connective tissue are the most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the body of higher animals. They are named connective tissue because of their special function of binding and supporting other tissues or organs in the body. They are mesodermal in origin. Connective tissue consists of cells and large extracellular matrix. It contains different combinations of fibers and ground substances, which include water, polysaccharides, and proteins. So let me explain detail about all these points. Extracellular matrix and ground substances and fibers and cells. Okay. Now let us go for this flow chart. So the structure of the connective tissue is having three components like cells and fibers and ground substances. So here the fibers and ground substances comes under the extracellular matrix. Okay. So these are the cells and these are the extracellular matrix particles like fibers and ground substances. So regarding cells, fibroblast, macrophages, mast cells, plasma cells, lymphocytes, leukocytes, adipose cells. So all these are the types of cells which are present in the connective tissue. Okay. Fibers means, for example, if it is the cell, the fibers and the ground substances comes under the extracellular fluid, which are present. Extra means the outer portion. Fibers and ground substances. When we come to know about the fibers, they are reticular, elastic, and collagen type of fibers. And ground substances, glycoproteins and macromolecules are the ground substances. So by all these, the connective tissues are made up of. The main components of the connective tissue are cells, fibers, and ground substances. Cells are different types like macrophages, mast cells, plasma cells. Fibers, reticular, elastic, collagen, and ground substances like glycoproteins. So all these are the materials which are made up of, which are useful for the making the connective tissue. Okay. Now go for the next slide. Connective tissue again divided into three types: connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue, and fluid connective tissue. Okay. So here the connective tissue is again divided into three types: connective tissue proper and skeletal tissue and fluid connective tissue. First, go for the connective tissue proper. The connective tissue proper is again divided into two types: loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. In loose connective tissue, again it is divided into three types. One is the areolar, adipose, and reticular. And dense connective tissue is also divided into three types, that is the regular, irregular, and elastic. This is the classification of the proper connective tissue. Okay. And skeletal tissue means, here skeleton means bones, spongy and compact. And the third one is the fluid connective tissue, the blood. So here coming to the skeletal, bone and cartilage both are comes under the skeletal, but fluid connective tissue means the blood. Blood is the fluid connective tissue. So all this will be comes under this connective tissue topic. So let me explain one by one. So this is the classification of the connective tissue, and here we are grouping the connective tissue into three types. That is, the first one is the connective tissue proper, and second one is the skeletal tissue, and third one is the fluid connective tissue, that is the blood. First, in connective tissue proper, again it is divided into loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue. In loose, again it is having three types: areolar, adipose, reticular. In dense connective tissue, regular, irregular, elastic. Coming to the skeletal, bone and cartilage, sponge and compact, cartilage, elastic, hyaline, and fibrocartilage. These are the types of cartilage. And complete fluid connective tissue is the blood. So all will be discussed in the connective tissue. And this is the classification of the connective tissue. Okay. Now, first we go for the only connective tissue proper. Okay. Connective tissue proper again divided into two types. The first one is the loose connective tissue, and second one is the dense connective tissue. In loose connective tissue, few fibers and more ground substances will be present. In dense connective tissue, more fibers, less ground substance is present. In loose connective tissue, areolar, adipose, and reticular. And in case of dense connective tissue, reticular and regular, irregular, and elastic. These are the types. Okay. In case of connective tissue proper, again it is divided into two types. One is the loose connective tissue. Second one is the dense connective tissue. When we come to know about the loose connective tissue, loose means the term itself indicating few fibers and more ground substances is present. Examples: areolar and adipose and reticular. And dense connective tissue, regular, irregular, and elastic. Okay, this is the classification of the connective tissue proper. Now, loose connective tissue, just now only we classified it as areolar tissue, adipose tissue, and reticular tissue. Let me explain first areolar tissue. So this is the picture of areolar tissue. It is one of the most widely distributed connective tissue in the body, from the packing tissue in almost all the organs. Means it is having a link with all the organs. Areolar, it is just like a packing tissue, which is able to having link with all the organs in the body. The cells of the areolar tissue are fibroblasts, mast cells, macrophages, adipocytes, and plasma cells. Okay, let me explain them. So here the cells of the areolar tissue are fibroblasts. Most common cells which secrete fibers. Fibroblast means they are able to secrete the fibers. Mast cells. So here the mast cells secrete heparin. Heparin means an anticoagulant. And histamine, bradykinin, vasodilator, and serotonin, vasoconstrictor. So here the two terms, vasodilator and vasoconstrictor. Vaso means vessel, blood vessel. Dilator means it expands the blood vessel. And constrictor means it decrease the diameter of the blood vessel. Okay. And vasodilator cause inflammation in response to injury or an infection. So especially mast cells secrete heparin. Heparin means it is an anticoagulant. Histamine, bradykinin, vasodilator, and serotonin is a vasoconstrictor. And all these will be useful in inflammations and respond to injury and infection. Macrophages. Macro, the term itself is indicating, are amoeboid cells, phagocytic in function, act on as internal scavengers. They are derived from the monocytes, mast cells, monocytes of the blades. So they are having the phagocytic function, means they destroy the disease causing agents, and tissue fixed macrophages are called as the histocytes. Okay, the macrophages which are attached with the tissue are called as the histocytes. This is about the macrophages. Fourth one is the plasma cells. They are derived from the B lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes, the main function of the B lymphocytes is the production of the antibodies. For antigens, the antibody production will be going to take place. Adipocytes, number of times we heard adipose is the tissue which is used for the storage of fat. So all these are the cells of the areolar tissue. Okay, fibroblast means producing the fiber, mast cells secreting heparin, macrophages especially for phagocytic in nature, plasma cells for production of the antibodies, and adipocytes for storage of fat. All these are the types of the cells which are present in the areolar tissue. Now, fibers of areolar tissue are collagen, elastin, collagen, elastin, and reticular. These are the fibers which are present in the areolar tissue. Now let us go for the adipose. Already we just now only we came to know that adipose is the tissue. So especially it is useful for the storage of fat. Okay. And it consists of large number of adipocytes and few fibers. Cells are more in number, but fibers are less in number. Tissue which is present beneath the skin provides thermal insulation. It is very, very important. The blubber of aquatic mammals such as whales and sea cow, it acts as a, so especially the thermal insulation means the aquatic mammals where they are present at the complete frozen areas, the blubber is giving protection from the certain cool conditions. And it acts as a storage tissue in the hump of a camel. So it is also used as the storage tissue in case of hump of camel. So this is about the adipose tissue. So when we come to know these are the cells and less fibers, and it is especially specialized for the storage of the fat. That is about the adipose tissue. Okay. Now, the adipose is again divided into two types, white adipose tissue and brown adipose tissue. Okay. Now, first we go for the white adipose tissue. It is found in adults, and adipocytes has a single large lipid droplet that is known as monolacular, and white fat is metabolically less active. Okay. White adipose and brown adipose. White adipose, it is found in adults, and the adipose has a single large lipid droplet that is known as monolacular, and white fat is very less active compared to the brown. Now go for the brown. It is found in fetuses and infants. Adipocytes of brown adipose tissue has several small lipid droplets or multicellular, and numerous mitochondria. Due to the presence of mitochondria, it is very active. Brown fat is metabolically active and generate heat to maintain the body temperature. Okay, so it is a brown adipose is found in infants and white adipose is found in adults. So go for the picture once again. So this is the brown fat and that is the white fat. Brown fat is very active and white fat is less active. White fat is present in adults and brown fat is present in infants. Okay, this is the comparison between the white and brown fats. reticular tissue. So, in case of reticular tissue, reticular cells secrete reticular fibers. Reticular fibers. They form an interconnecting network. It forms the supporting framework of lymphoid organs. What are the lymphoid organs here? Such as bone marrow, spleen, and lymph nodes. So here nothing but reticular tissue cells secrete reticular fibers. They form an interconnecting network. It forms the supporting framework of lymphoid organs such as bone marrow, spleen, and lymph nodes. So in this picture, you are able to see the reticular fibers. Okay, go for the picture. Reticular connective tissue. So especially it is made up of reticular fibers. So it is giving a supportive framework like lymphoid organs like lymph nodes, okay, and bone marrow. This is about the reticular connective tissue. Okay. Now go for what we have learned. So today we have discussed about the epithelial tissue, simple and compound, and simple, squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. And coming to the connective tissue, proper, and here this is the bone and blood. When we come to know about the loose connective and dense connective, in case of loose, areolar, adipose, and reticular tissues. So we come to conclude. So we have completed up to the connective tissue proper. Loose means that is areolar and adipose and reticular. So in the next coming class, we will discuss some more points regarding the next types of connective tissues, which are known as skeletal and blood. Blood means the fluid connective tissue. Okay. Now let us go for the assignment. Describe briefly about the three types of intercellular junctions of epithelial tissue. I repeat the question once again. Describe briefly about the three types of intercellular junctions of epithelial tissue. Give an account of glandular epithelium. The second question, give an account of glandular epithelium. Third question, give a brief account of the cells of areolar tissue. Third question, give a brief account of the cells of areolar tissue.